I've extensively studied hundreds upon hundreds of 8-figure businesses, and here's everything I learned. And a quick tip, put the video on 2x speed if you want to save time. The first thing is the art of identifying and solving constraints. Okay, and so to put it straightforward, a business is a system composed of different components. And typically in an online service business, those different components is your offer. So what exactly are you offering? What is the promise you're making? Lead flow, how are you getting leads? How are people giving you their information? Appointment flow, how are you booking appointments, otherwise known as sales calls? Deal flow, what does your sales process look like? How are you closing deals? And also delivery, how are you fulfilling on the promise you made? What is your service delivery structured like? And so from there, I want to give you a quick overview of what the perfect business looks like. But keep in mind, this is unrealistic and this does not exist in this world. Okay, so let's say theoretically you have 100 people who see your offer. From there, let's say 100 of those people become leads. From there, let's say 100 of those people book appointments, and then 100 of those people close deals. They buy from you. They give you their money. And then let's say, all 100 of those people get great results for them, and you successfully fulfill on your promise. So everything throughout the whole business, it's 100% pass-through rate. But let me tell you, that is unrealistic. Here's a more realistic look on a business. So let's say 100 people, once again, you get the attention of 100 people and they see your offer. From there, this is pretty good. Maybe only 5% of those people become leads. Okay, so you've gone from 100 people now narrowed it down to 5 people. From there, from those 5 people, only 2 people book in sales calls. They book in appointments with you. Okay, so that's a 40% booking rate. And then from there, out of those 2 calls you had, let's say 1 person closes, which in this instance, obviously as you gather more data, it's going to be more accurate. But in this instance, let's say it's a 50% close rate, which is insanely good. From there, let's say that you successfully fulfill your promise for 1 person and you get great results. Okay, and so I want to drill this into your brain, and it's a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And why do I bring this up? It's because of the theory of constraints. And if you don't know what theory of constraints is, it's a methodology for identifying the most important limiting factor that stands in the way of achieving a goal, and then systematically improving that constraint until it is no longer the limiting factor. For example, in manufacturing, the constraint is often referred to as the bottleneck. Okay, and the whole point of you as the founder is to look at your business from a high level perspective and identify what is the constraint in the business, what is the weak link in this chain right here that's stopping the throughput of the rest of the business. And if you don't know how to identify the constraint in the business, I'm about to show you in just a second. And for the sake of this example, let's say the perfect and realistic business sold something for 10K. Okay, so they're both selling some package for $10,000 ticket price. Let's compare how much each business would have made. Okay, so first we have the perfect business, and they're selling something for 10K. And so they get 100 eyeballs, 100% of those people turn into leads, 100% of those people book appointments, and 100% of those people close deals. So throughout the whole business, each component has a 100% throughput rate, which once again is pretty unrealistic. But for the sake of this example, I'm using it, as a scenario. And so 100 people times $10,000, that means $1 million in top line revenue. Okay, so the perfect business would have made $1 million in revenue simply with the attention of 100 people, which is amazing. Now let's compare it to the realistic business. Once again, selling something for 10K, got the attention of 100 people. 5% of those people turn into leads, 40% of those people book appointments, and then 50% of those people close on the sales call. And compared to the $1 million that the perfect business made in top line revenue, the realistic business makes $10,000 in revenue. That is a 100x difference, simply because this business does not have constraints. And so it's a 100x difference. And now we have to look at the realistic business, and we're trying to make it as perfect as possible. And to make it as perfect as possible, we have to identify what component of the business is the constraint. Was it either the lead flow, which is at 40%, appointment flow, which is also at 40%, or closing rate, which is also at 50%. You don't just guess. There's a specific process you have to follow when it comes to identifying the constraints. Okay, and so this is the process. If I add an incremental percentage increase of 10% to each step, which one would have the biggest effect on the business? So if lead flow went from 5 to 15%, appointment flow went from 40 to 50%, and closing rate went from 50 to 60%, which one would have the biggest effect on the revenue of the business? And the answer is lead flow. If we add a 10% improvement to lead flow, the business triples. The only thing you should be obsessing about in this point, if this is your situation, is how to get more attention on your offer and improve lead flow. Literally everything else is distraction. Your focus is how do you improve this number? And that's how you grow a business. So now let's talk about introducing leverage. And, if you watch a lot of business content, if you watch a lot of Hermosi, they always mention leverage. But what exactly is leverage? Simply put it, it means you get more for what you put in. If you don't have leverage, it will literally take you 50 years, maybe even more, to make $1 million. And here's a quick scenario I came up with. Two people are racing to a finish line. The first person is running to the finish line, while the second person is driving a car to the finish line. The first person has to put in more effort and energy to reach the finish line in 30 seconds, while the second person simply pushes the gas pedal with their foot to reach the same destination in 5 seconds. The second person is in a better vehicle. They cover more distance while using less effort and energy. They also reach the destination faster. And so if you're never able to if you never obtain leverage, you will be the guy running to the finish line. So you need to get access to capital. And the main way to do that is by selling your offer and then reinvest that capital into things that give you leverage. Okay, so the first person running to the finish line, they have to physically run and sweat, and they end up at the finish line slower. It takes more time to reach the finish line, opposed to the person who's literally chilling in a car, in a better vehicle, simply pushing their foot down on a gas pedal, and they reach it quickly. Okay, the second guy got more output, got more results for less input because he was in a better vehicle. And so here's another example of low leverage versus high leverage situations. The low leverage situation is manually sending 1,000 cold DMs on Instagram. Okay, when you're sending 1,000 cold DMs on Instagram, like by yourself for this situation, let's just say you're the only person sending these DMs, you're doing 1,000 smaller inputs, which is probably going to take you around, realistically, doing 1,000 cold DMs is probably going to take 10 to 12 hours of your time, which is insane if you're still doing this. Opposed to creating one YouTube video that gets 1,000 views. It's one bigger input. And creating a decent YouTube video where you're providing a lot of value to your audience, probably around 4 to 6 hours of your time, and this is much higher leverage. Okay, you create this thing once and it works for you forever. It doesn't just magically stop at the 1,000 views. It keeps getting views over years and years upon years if it's quality content. Opposed to this, you send 1,000 cold messages, DMs on Instagram. It's pretty saturated. Some people might open it. A lot of people aren't going to open it. You might get banned. You might get restricted. It takes a lot of time. Opposed to this, not only are you reaching 1,000 people, but you're educating 1,000 people. It's way more leverage opposed to this. You do this once and it works for you forever. It does wonders for you. Opposed to this, it's all right. You also have to think in terms of growth. So in this first situation, when it comes to sending the manual DMs, you send one DM, you maybe get one response. You send one DM, you maybe get one response. 1 equals 1, 1 equals 1, okay? There's no compound growth. Okay. On the other hand, when it comes to creating a YouTube video that gets 1,000 views, the secret is that the growth compounds over time. So, this chart perfectly describes it. In the beginning, when you're creating content, it's going to probably be slower. The truth is you're probably not going to get 1,000 views in the beginning. It's going to be slow. Okay. But if you stick with it, because most people don't, if you stick with it for a month, 2 months, a year, then you're going to see exponential growth that compounds onto itself. And that is where, life becomes easy. That's where you access the cheat code. So always think in terms of leverage, always go with a more leveraged decision and what's going to compound over time. You want to build something and you want it to feed your family for the rest of your life. And remember how I previously mentioned that a business is a system of components composed of multiple different functions and components? Well, you want to introduce leverage to each component. And to basically give you a quick overview, there's 4 forms of leverage: code, capital, labor, and media. Okay, so software, technology, capital, basically money. You can go debt, loans, getting money from people who pay you. Labor, hiring people to do work for you, either full-time, part-time, contractors, doesn't matter. Media, content. Okay. And so you have the business, the offer, lead flow, appointment flow, deal flow, and delivery. And you want to introduce leverage to each system, to each component within the system of your business. So when it comes to the offer, you want to have a scalable offer where you collect lots of money upfront. Okay. And this, you're leveraging capital. And so if you're able to collect lots of money upfront, preferably, Hermosi always says 3 to 1 CAC to LTV ratio, which simply means that for every person that pays you, you're able to get minimum 3 more customers. It's called client finance acquisition. You collect money from someone, you're able to use that money, reinvest it to get more customers. Okay, so that's collecting capital, that's leverage. When it comes to lead flow, I always preach, I use an example above, as an example why you shouldn't necessarily do cold DMs as like your primary way of acquiring clients. I say run ads and create content. I highly recommend this because you're leveraging code and media. creating content, I just started because it's going to be slow in the beginning. Most of the time it's pretty slow in the beginning, but as you build it up, your audience compounds and it does wonders for you. And running ads, it's more of a short-term strategy opposed to content being a long-term strategy. Running ads, you need to feed family, you need to pay your bills, you need to do it ASAP. And running ads has never been easier. The meta AI, the code within it has never been so good, where you put a simple creative and it puts it right in front of your ideal customer, your ideal prospect. Okay, so you're leveraging code and media for lead flow. For appointment flow, what I recommend, as soon as somebody books an appointment with you, you want them to consume some content. Obviously everyone talks about Google's infamous 7-hour rule, where somebody needs to at least consume 7 hours of content for you before they buy from you. And so get them to consume some content, maybe a quick VSL of what you do, the process you're implementing for your clients. So just to know before they hop on a call with you, what they should be expecting. Okay, so get them to consume some content. You frame it as some pre-call homework, and also SMS, email, and automations where you have reminders, nurture sequence before the call, reminding them there's a call, and also nurturing them with some more content within that sequence. So it not only is it increasing the show rate, it also increases the close rate, because now they're more informed, they know who you are, and they trust you more before they hop on a call with you. And that is code and media. And so then when it comes to deal flow, your closer takes your calls. I recommend, if you're the founder, outsource yourself, hire someone to take your calls as soon as you validate your funnel. There's no upfront fee to hiring a closer. You just give them a percentage of the deals that they close for you. And also, if you're not doing one-on-one sales calls, I highly recommend doing, let's say, a monthly webinar, or doing one-to-many selling. Okay, so a normal sales call, where you hop on a call with your prospect, that's one-on-one sales calls. When you hop on a webinar and talk to 100, 200 people, that's one-to-many selling. That's introducing leverage. Okay, because now you get 200x, 100x the result, opposed to you just hopping on a call 1v1 with somebody. And this is introducing labor and media. Labor, you're hiring a closer to do the work for you. Media, you're hopping on a Zoom call. It's very rare that people do in-person conferences. Obviously that's a thing, but most of the time it's an online webinar where you're selling to people, hundreds of people at once, and that's leverage. And then you have delivery. You want to get a fulfillment team and productize service. Once again, I recommend fulfillment is something you outsource as quickly as possible. Obviously make sure your team knows what they're doing and they're getting good results. Outsource as quickly as possible, because it's the least leveraged thing when it comes to moving the business forward. Because as a founder, you should be focused on higher leverage things, like, let's say, creating content, marketing, helping with sales systems, solving the constraint. And basically, it's simply labor and code. That's the form of leverage when it comes to outsourcing your delivery. And here's a huge insight I got from studying all these businesses, which is the different mental models required for success. Everyone always asks, what's the best framework? What's the best mindset? And I'm about to walk you through that and what I personally derived from looking at all these founders and all these businesses. Okay, if you don't know what a mental model is, it's a simple framework or representation that people use to understand, interpret, and navigate the world around them. They're like cognitive shortcuts that help us process complex information, make decisions, and predict outcomes based on patterns or assumptions we've built over time. So it's a simple framework for navigating the world. For running a business, it's an operating system in your mind. And so what I've derived is that different stages in business equals a different mental model. Okay, so the mental model you need from when you start your business at 0 opposed to when it's at 10 million with 100 employees under you is different. And so there's different stages of business and what's required of you at each stage. And so as you and your business enter different stages, different things are required of you. And these are the 3 main stages of running your business. The first stage is the soloist stage. And so what exactly is this stage? It's the beginning of your business. And, at this point, you are the underdog and you're working all alone in your business. You are the CEO, CFO, CPO, CTO, closer, appointment setter, media buyer, customer success. Like, you are everything. You are doing all the work. You're stretched out thin in between each component of your business, and you're doing everything. And so what is the mental model required at this stage in your business? During this stage of your business, the grind and hustle mindset is what is required for success. Working countless hours, getting attention on your offer, that should be your primary focus. Solving the main constraint, which 99% of the time at this point in your business is getting attention on the offer. And so but you don't want to get too caught up in this. You are only doing what is required. As soon as you get access to capital, as soon as somebody pays you, you should be looking to delegate yourself out of the trenches. And so that's stage 1. You need to have the hustle, Mamba mentality mindset. Stage 2 is the family stage. And what is the stage? It's a stage where you're still involved in the day-to-day activities of running your business, but you have people under you doing most of the work in the trenches. And so at this stage, you're most likely managing the people who are in the trenches doing the work for you. And so what is required from you at this stage? During the family stage of your business, you must have a mindset that is focused on adaptability. And this stage is where your business faces the most risk. You're making big decisions and you face uncertainty. And when most people reach this stage, they are in unfamiliar territory and they have to be ready to adapt to anything and everything that comes their way. So you must not lose focus at this point. So at this stage, you're pretty unfamiliar territory. You have to be ready to adapt and be in formless. You have to be in formless shape and be ready to adapt to any situation that comes your way. And so the third and final stage is the city stage. And what is the stage? The city stage of your business is a stage where you've completely removed yourself from the day-to-day activities of your business. You have people marketing, selling, and fulfilling for you. You also have people managing everything for you, and you have an entire team of people who dedicate themselves to achieving your dreams. And what is the mindset required to get to this or during this stage? You have to have an investor mindset. Your main focus is to allocate capital and make high-level decisions that move the business forward as a whole. And that's it. Those are the 3 stages of the business and the different mental models required. There's not a one size fits all cookie cutter mental model. You have to be adaptable and you have to be formless. And across all the different stages, there's different things required from you. Okay. And so now let's talk about productization. And so once you've scaled past 6 figures a month, you need a more scalable product. This is probably one of the most underrated factors that I've recently studied across multiple 8-figure companies, specifically service businesses. And it's that as they grow, you can't grow if every time you onboard a client, you need to have 100 team members fulfilling work for them. Okay. That's impossible to grow. As you grow, your product needs to become more scalable. And here's how. And so here are the 4 most common ways to productize your product or service. The first one is if you find that you're repeating the same information over and over to every client, then simply turn that into content and just make them watch it. Okay, that's the first way to productize. Second one is if you do not have a clear client roadmap and what should happen at each stage during a specific timeline within your customer success, customer journey within your company, then you need to templatize a client roadmap and show it to every client. So not only do they know what the expectations are, but it's also more systemized for the internal team to hand things off. And the third one is if you do not have a fulfillment team, you need to get one right away. As soon as you collect money, you need to get some growth consultants, which these are people who have detailed knowledge about what you're selling, and they have, they're able to consult your prospects, or not your prospects, but your clients on exactly how to, reach their desired outcome. Okay, so typically when you start a business, you're the only growth consultant. You're the only person who's not smart enough, but who's qualified enough to consult your clients on exactly how to, go from A to Z or how to solve their problems. So you want to hire someone who has the same knowledge, possibly even running the same business, and you need to convince them to join your team so you're not the only one who has to consult your clients. Also, I recommend you look into hiring a systems integrator, somebody who integrates systems for your clients, a customer success person, so somebody who onboards and checks in on your clients. And also, depending on what you're selling, if you're selling something that's, centered around Facebook ads, content, hire people to do the specialized work who can take care of these things for your clients so you can outsource it and you're not doing it yourself. And from there, once you've got a fulfillment team, you want to implement a referral system. Okay, so you want to have a systemized way of getting referrals and asking for testimonials. Maybe it's within once you hit a certain milestone or a specific deadline, then you ask the client in a specific way for referrals and testimonials, as long as you're getting them good results, of course. The reason why this is important is because it has a flywheel effect. Okay, so you want to get your clients good results. From there, you can get those good results and use it as data points. Okay, why were the results good? What did they do? And you can use that to get more good results, which just feeds the feedback loop. And you can use more client testimonials and referrals to grow your business, which just keeps feeding into this feedback loop. Okay, and ideally within your business, and I heard this from Hermosi and I loved it. You want to have multiple not feedback loops, flywheels in your business that compound over time and grow over time. Okay, and so that's that. And now the last and probably most important principle that I've derived from studying all these 8-figure businesses is competitive edge. And Mark Jacobs, he's a shark who's worth $8 billion in his net worth. He said you can mess up a lot of things in your business and still do well as long as you get the big trend right. Okay, and that says a lot coming from him. And so I kind of want to walk you through the different opportunities and the biggest trends that have been, brought up within the past few years. In 2021, it was digital products. 2022, it was Facebook ads. 2023, it was short form content. And now it is AI. Okay, but it actually goes deeper than this. It's not as straightforward as this, and by the way, tons of people got rich from these trends, digital products, mainly Tai Lopez. He was the biggest guy there. Facebook ads, that's when Iman was pushing, starting a Facebook ads agency. Short form content, it's when Hormozy blew up. I'd say Hormozy and Tate, they're the ones that primarily leverage short form content to boost their brand the most. That's still, being used widely, but, people have caught on to the trend, and now it's AI. We are very, very early into this huge trend, and let me actually walk you through it. And so there's something called macro and micro trends. Okay. When it comes to micro trends, these are things like digital products, Facebook ads, and short form content. These are under the hierarchy. These are under the umbrella of the internet. The internet is a macro trend that enabled these other trends to happen. And so when it comes to AI, is AI a macro or micro trend? It's a macro trend. And so both AI and the internet are both massive macro trends that have and will create trillions upon trillions of more dollars in value for the economy and for, individuals. So the same way that the internet had digital products, Facebook ads, and short form content under its umbrella of different micro trends, AI has the same exact thing. If not, it's going to have more. So as of now, the big three is dialers, chatbots, and automations. And people are packaging it and selling these different mechanisms and different micro trends to different businesses for thousands upon thousands of dollars, even $10, 12, $15,000, depending on the market and problem you're solving. So one thing you need to realize, especially when a huge macro trend like this comes around every 100 years, is money flows where attention goes. And people are starting to realize that AI is no joke. All the biggest names in the online agency, SMMA, whatever you want to call it, all the biggest names in the space are starting to go all in on it because they know what's coming. People like Serge Guattari, people like Jordan Platt, and people like, even Andrew Tate. He says, he's been going all in on AI. He even said AI is genuinely amazing, but it can do everything. And he said, if you're not using AI today, you are failing and the competition will destroy you, where he does not lie in that tweet. Okay. Everyone knows that what's coming with AI, and that's why they're going all in on it. He's added it to his Husser University campus, and, everyone's doing it. And so why? It's because AI is the trend, and we are entering the age of infinite leverage, which AI will bring us. And the same way that, countless people like Tai Lopez, Sam Ovens, Iman, Hormozy, Tate, Jordan Welch, Luke Belmar, like all these people, hundreds of more people became millionaires from the internet. Actually, thousands of more people. I don't know what I'm talking about. Millions of people became millionaires from the internet. AI will do the same thing, and countless people will become millionaires from AI. There's already people, and already there's gonna be tons of more people that become millionaires, billionaires, and create generational wealth from AI. And so, if you want to get a piece of it, then we have a completely free community where you can join hundreds of other AI service providers to get a piece of the biggest trend in history, which is, it's the first link in the description. It's 100% for free. AI Scaling Specialist School Community. We're always deriving the latest insights, always networking. And if you want personal access to me, I'm always active in this community. First link in the description, completely for free. And I'll see you on the inside. Bye.